Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It is Thursday, April 29th, and I'm Blair Kirchhoff. On today's show, soccer beat writer Shaun Goodwin and Allie Trost from Sports Radio 810 talk goals on the pitch, starting with Gianluca Busio's beautiful goal for Sporting Kansas City in last weekend's 1-1 draw with Orlando City. Sporting visits Real Salt Lake on Saturday afternoon, and we preview that game as well. After a break, we spend some time talking about the significance of Christian Pulisic's goal earlier this week. Pulisic, of course, is the 22-year-old American who plays for Chelsea, and his goal was his team's lone score in a 1-1 draw with Real Madrid. Biggest goal by an American in a European competition? We talk about it. Also, next for KC NWSL, a second straight home opener. We'll explain. So let's get started with Allie Trost and Shaun Goodwin. So, Twizzlers, Allie, huh?
My favorite candy. I get a lot of pushback from people on the internet about this, but I love Twizzlers, think they're the best, and I'm considered weird for it, and that's okay.
Yeah, I am joking you a little bit, Ali. Twizzlers, it's kind of nice, but I don't know.
Well,
they're delicious.
Nice enough to display and to show us. Nothing wrong with a good Twizzler every once in a while. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. So, okay, got a lot of soccer to talk about, and we've got games coming up. We have games in the rearview mirror. Interesting stuff. So let's start with Sporting Kansas City's 1-1 draw with Orlando City last week, and I think I mentioned this a week ago, and I will mention it every time we talk about a 1-1 draw. It stinks if you score. If your team scores first, it's, you think you're going right, but if your team scores second, you love the 1-1 draw. Orlando City scored late and got out of Children's Mercy with a tie. But what I wanted to talk about first was Gianluca Busio's goal. I thought that was fantastic. Allie, what did you see on that, and are we seeing the next level Gianluca Busio?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're starting to see the more confident that Busio gets and the more minutes he plays, even in a position that's not his natural position, like the 9, which he's been playing here in the last 2 games for Sporting Kansas City. You're just starting to see a player, and Johnny Russell talked about this in his media availability on Thursday. The confidence that this kid has, it kind of came up in preseason. He came in really prepared. He wanted to wear the 10, and now he's showing that on the field. He's just such a quality player. And that goal was just world class. I mean, the quick adjustments, the noticing that he had the opportunity to catch Orlando's keeper kind of out of position there, just so slightly to sneak it in at that near post was just fantastic. And a beautiful setup too from Daniel Shallowy, who, looked up, saw that Busio was the best option, the best scoring option for the pass instead of just trying to slot it across the middle. And that goal just started with pressure being put on by Busio and Shallowy. You force a bad pass from the keeper and then put the pressure on, pick it up, and then create an opportunity for your team. And that goal just, I mean, Vermes said it was world class. I think that's the best way to describe it. It was just a goal that you don't see a lot of young players in the league score. That's a goal scorer's goal, and it was just fantastic the way that he was able to put that one away. And in a big moment, it was a big goal for Sporting Kansas City. Like you said, it was a 1-1 draw. They did score first, which it is unfortunate that they did concede, but Orlando was knocking on the door. And if Orlando hadn't scored in that game, given the disallowed goals and just the whole VAR situation, and I thought, a team that did have some good scoring opportunities in Orlando, I think would have been pretty frustrating if you were on the purple side. But credit to Gianluca Busio. Again, not just having a great start to the season, but doing so in a position that's not his natural one at the attacking midfielder spot.
What's his best position?
So naturally he's the 10, but he plays in the attacking midfield spot. But we saw him last season at the 6, playing the defensive mid role in place of Ilie Sanchez, and now this season we've seen him mostly at the 9, playing in place of Alan Pulido. So he's looked good anywhere that he's been moved around. And, that just speaks to his quality and his ability to adapt and adjust and just step up where he's needed. But yeah, I'd like to see, and it will depend on when this team starts getting healthy and they have their full complement of players. I'd like to see Busio in his natural position, surrounded by the team's preferred, I think, starting midfield, which we haven't gotten a chance to see yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, before we jump on, Ali, I am going to, I guess, jump on your back there, what you were saying with Busio. I feel like it's deja vu. It's just every single time he plays, I feel like we're just talking about how well he played, right? But about that best position side, yeah. I remember we were talking on this pod last week. We were talking about Busio in the 9. I was like, yeah, he looked good. His holds up play could have done some work, but it was passable, it was acceptable. And then he moves back into midfield and he was great. And I think I was saying this to you on 8-10 on Saturday as well, Ali. It's like he came out a week apart and he made that number 9. It looks like he was a natural. He was making good runs in behind. His hold-up play was a lot better. Obviously, the world-class goal. And Johnny Russell was saying earlier today, you can play him at 6, at 8, at 10, on the wing, at 9. He's an 18-year-old kid. He's barely out of high school. And he plays anywhere. So, yeah, you're correct. Number 10 is his correct position. And last week, I did feel that him in the 9 was wasted potential just because he's so much better in midfield. And I still think that's the case. But you give the kid 1 or 2 weeks to practice a position, and he looks like he's played there for half a decade. It's unreal.
Ali, you mentioned it. Shalloway had the assist on that. I'm so happy to see him do what he's been doing here for a couple. But both goals that were so they've got 3 goals this year. One was a penalty kick. Shalloway, though, on the scored one and assisted on another. It's really gratifying to see him step up, and hopefully this continues for him.
Yeah, absolutely, and. I mean, Daniel Shalloway is by far the happiest about the current situation and the start to the season, but all of his teammates feel the exact same way. Johnny Russell, I asked him about the front line right now because you've got Shalloway who's playing because Johnny's not 90 minutes fit. And you've got Busio, like we've talked about, at the 9 playing and starting there because Alan Pulido's not 90 minutes fit. And they've been able to, through 2 games, collect 4 points. And, those aren't the only positions that are lacking in depth or don't maybe have their preferred players available. And Johnny just, was so happy to see Daniel, who, by the way, back in 2018, those two were in stride with one another to lead the team in scoring. It was a fantastic season for the 2 of them. And then, of course, Shalloway struggled for 19 and 20. But, to see him back, I had a chance to catch up with him at Media Day, just kind of chit-chatting back and forth. And really, he said that going home to Hungary and the whole country being shut down due to the coronavirus pandemic, there was nothing else to do but work out and get ready. So he just really spent a lot of that time. Not that he wouldn't have been focused or doing, some of those same things, but I think when it's the only thing for you to do and you're kind of really forced to just turn inward and focus on the only things in front of you, which for him were just getting back to the States and getting back to, training and preseason starting. And, it's made I think for him, a world of a difference. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed in his play is that he looks more confident. And that was something I think in the last 2 seasons, even though he didn't get as much time out on the field, especially last season, even when he did, he looked a little bit out of place. And now I think he's playing with a lot more confidence, which for someone who prides themselves on being a goal scorer, you have to have that confidence. If you don't have that piece, it's going to show up in your game in a lot of different ways. And so now that he has that back, I think we're going to see a lot more creating, like we saw on the assist, and goal scoring from Daniel Shalloway.
Exact fabled contract year.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
So in honor of Therese Paylor, who always said the contract year is undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So the other interesting thing I heard about Daniel, and I think it was with an interview with Nate Bukaty on the Border Patrol, was he brought his dog over with him as well on the plane from home from Europe when he came over here, and it was tough to keep him in the bag on the flight over. So, all right, we got Real Salt Lake coming up on Saturday. I don't know if we still call it a rival, but always interesting when Sporting KC plays Real Salt Lake. It's in Salt Lake, so a late game on Saturday. What's a good 30-second scouting report on Real Salt Lake, Shaun?
Yeah, 1 p.m. on Saturday, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's an afternoon game.
Yeah, afternoon. So that's good for us, right?
Absolutely good for us.
But yeah, no, Real Salt Lake, I mean, yeah, in recent years, Salt Lake has kind of dropped off the wagon a little bit, and it's a little bit tougher to call it a rivalry game. But it's one of those games where no matter how poorly, how good either team is doing, there's always going to be, they're always going to put up a fight. And, Real Salt Lake, they'll put up a good tough game like they always give, and going to Salt Lake City is always a tough one as well. So Salt Lake won their first game of the season too. So if we're talking about all of this, heck, they could have a great season. It's not like, Sporting, there's a terrible 2020 and then came out, 2019 and came out flying in 2020. So you never know. I don't think based off last year, Sporting KC fans should walk into this game expecting an easy dub, because based off that first game from Salt Lake, which they won, everything kind of points towards it being yet another difficult rivalry game, so to speak.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
Definitely a new look Real Salt Lake team. It's not going to be the team, like you mentioned, that was, rich in that rivalry, that hatred between both sides. Some of those players have come and gone, but one player to watch for is Anderson Julio, the winger that they acquired from Liga MX. He scored the brace in that game winner, or, the game-winning brace in that first match against Minnesota United, which a very tough team, as Sporting Kansas City fans can attest to from the playoffs last year. He's going to be one to watch in this game. We talked with Brian Dunseth, commentator for Real Salt Lake, on the Sporting KC show this week, and he said this is a player that the club had their eye on for a while. They finally have the chance to bring him over, and had quite the debut in Major League Soccer and quite the game there. So he'll be one that Sporting Kansas City fans should have an eye on in that game, and certainly Sporting KC will have an eye on in that game. So you can never underestimate Real Salt Lake, and I think a lot of the unknowns about them just make them even more dangerous. You never know what a team can prove on just any given match day, and especially so early in the season, as all clubs are trying to figure out their identity and what they have or don't have.
I'm curious how David Ochoa will react as well. Was he a 20-year-old goalkeeper who kicked the ball into the stands after the Minnesota game, and he was fined an undisclosed amount, so he'll be available. But he's a kid who seems like he's got a bit of a hot head on him. So we'll see how
two young keepers facing off in this game. So
unless McIntosh plays, of course, they can't guarantee. But yeah, no, it'll be fun if it's Pulskamp and Ochoa.
Which is a good way to transition into no Tim Melia now. And so what is it continues to be no Tim Melia. What is the injury report for Sporting? I know Peter Vermes was asked about that today.
Yeah, honestly, nothing massively new to report. He didn't really have anything to report, to be honest. He says that everyone's inching back. It's all positive, but you're not firing all cylinders. Russell and Please have obviously been putting in minutes. Ilya is, as far as we're concerned, still out again, not really firing on full cylinders, but that's a stacked midfield anyway. And then the big question, of course, being Tim Melia, which I asked about. Yeah, he's not even back in full practice. Yeah, he's out there, he's getting some reps in, but yeah, he's not even in full practice, so he won't be available this week. If that's the case, I doubt he'll be available for the following game either. So I think we still have a couple of games of the Pulskamp McIntosh show for the time being.
Okay, hey, let's transition over to KC NWSL, the Fighting Wosos.
Fighting Wosos.
Yes.
I like that.
Had their home debut on earlier this week, fell to the Houston Dash 3-1. We'll have another game on Monday in the final game in the Challenge Cup series. This one against the OL Reign. What is the OL? I know where the Reign is. They're in Tacoma. Yeah. What does the OL stand for?
It's Olympique Lyon. because it got owned by Lyon out in France. So yeah, it was obviously the Seattle Reign, but based out in Tacoma, I guess technically. But yeah, they were at least owned or bought out. I'm not sure the specific split by Olympique Lyon, so it's now OL Reign.
Okay, and Legends Field, are we confident this one's going to go to? Do we know, Ali?
That's where they're playing. That the game will be at Legends Field. Of course, some construction delays caused them to have to change course and play at Children's Mercy Park in that game against the Dash. But everything is, at least what I've heard, on track, and fans will be out at the Field of Legends on May 3rd for the second home opener at the actual home field.
Well, there's no better source for this than Ali. So a great atmosphere on for the home opener at Children's Mercy when they played there. I heard Shaun say today on the press conference that he was so enraptured by the festivities that Johnny Russell walked by and he didn't even recognize him.
I know. I was too busy listening to a video I took of Amy Rodriguez after the game. So I'm standing there, phone to my ear, kind of looking down, and I noticed like shadows walk past me, and I didn't think anything of it. And I think it was Araceli. She mentioned that a couple of the players walked past. I was like, shoot, I just completely missed a bunch of guys, and now I feel like a bad person just ignoring them. But no, yeah, that was a great atmosphere up there. Even despite the results, 3-1, the fans were great at the start. After the first game, it was great. After the first goal, it was great. Maybe took the fans by shock a little bit. It was a great goal by Mewis. And I heard a couple of fans in the south stand start chanting "Let's go KC," which kind of reverberated around the stadium. Super cool. The penalty call, that probably wasn't a penalty with Rachel Daly. Again, fans booing in unison, beautiful thing. And even after that third goal, the drum kept beating, the fans kept cheering, and of course, when Vasconcelos put that goal in at the end, 78th minute, the place erupted and there were fireworks instead of the confetti, which was cool to see. So yeah, it was a fun atmosphere to be in, and I hope that we keep a similar thing heading over to the Field of Legends on Monday.
Yeah, totally agree.
Brittany Matthews was there, and her husband, what is his name? I can't remember. Her boyfriend, I can't remember his name.
Paddy, someone.
Yeah, Paddy. Yeah. So that was cool to have Patrick Mahomes out there, and we'll hopefully see him at other games this year with Brittany Matthews, part of the ownership group for the team. So, okay, guys, let's take a break here. I've got some other topics I wanted to cover with you when we come back. Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening. And we are back with Ali Trost and Shaun Goodwin talking soccer in Kansas City. And since the last time we chatted, a couple of developments. The first one involves an announcement that the Gold Cup is returning to Children's Mercy Park. Do we have the dates on that, Shaun? Is it early July?
It's early July through August, so it'll be sometime during that month. I believe July 1 was what I saw, but I know it's the first week of July.
Okay, that's the window. It's going to be in July. And what is the Gold Cup?
Yeah, the Gold Cup is essentially North America's version of, I guess the best I can say is the Euros. Obviously you have the CONCACAF. Well, not CONCACAF. Ali, why is my mind blanking? The US hosted it a couple of years ago.
We'll get it. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But no,
we know the teams. We know the teams are going to be in it. But what surprised me a little bit was that Qatar is one of the teams in it, and I thought, well, wait a second. I had to, I know Qatar's not, in this hemisphere. So how did that happen? But I guess they were invited, and you can do that in the Gold Cup.
Yeah. So I got also really off topic. I'm sorry for that, but so Gold Cup essentially, North and Central Americas, Caribbean, and then an invited team from somewhere else in the world. So Qatar, however we're going to pronounce it. I think it's pronounced different in different countries.
As controversy, right?
Yeah, big controversy around the World Cup with that.
Controversy.
Controversy, but it's it's hosted every couple of years. Sporting KC or Children's Mercy Park has hosted it on 3 separate occasions: 2011, 2015, and 2019, and then now 2021. So this will be the first time it's hosted in back-to-back tournaments. It's great for Kansas City. I mean, on all 3 previous occasions, the US men's national team has competed here. Not sure the exact reason behind that, but it might be because the official training facility, I guess, for the US, or one of them, is Sporting KC's. So that's going to play a big part of it, of course. They haven't announced schedules yet or dates, but the hope is that the US will be here, and then they'll be playing either Canada, Martinique. Is that how you say that?
Close enough.
Martinique.
Martinique,
and then a 4th team, which is in a preliminary game, which hasn't been decided yet, of course. So it's great for Children's Mercy Park. It's great for Kansas City, and not just the fact that host them, but as we head into the World Cup 2026 bids as well. Obviously, Kansas City is one of the 23 finalist cities, I guess, to hopefully host. I believe that's going to be trimmed down to 16 by, hopefully, I think the end of the year or end of 2022. So it's coming around at the right time. I believe the committees, the host city committees, and FIFA and whatnot, they're going to start viewing all of these potential cities starting this summer. So for Children's Mercy Park to be hosting a game or 2 this summer, it's great timing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that Kansas City, especially as they get closer with the World Cup bids and wanting to be a city that is a top of mind destination for some of sports' biggest events, and the NFL draft, being another one here in a couple of years. I can't remember if that got pushed back because of the pandemic, but 2023, I believe, is still the year in which that will be hosted here. So, I mean, it's great for Kansas City and the growth and just the perception, not just nationally, but worldwide, of Kansas City as a sports town and a destination for big events like these that are hosted in the U.S.
Kansas City and Children's Mercy have always shown well on with these events. It's great to have a full house, and I think part of it is when those international events come to Kansas City, they're not at Arrowhead, they're at Children's Mercy, where 20,000 in that structure looks a lot better than 20,000 at Arrowhead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess before I go on, the competition I was thinking about earlier was Copa America.
There you go.
Okay. So, yeah. I kind of thought that's where you were going, but I honestly had missed the beginning of what you had said. So then I stayed quiet.
Copa America, North and South America. Gold Cup is just North America and Central America, technically. So that's what I was trying to say. Well, now, moving on.
I'm on my Twitter feed the other day, and all of a sudden a burst of Christian Pulisic videos had hit. And so whenever he scores playing for Chelsea, it's big news. But this was even bigger news. Mm-hmm. So Chelsea playing Real Madrid. What was the significance of the Christian Pulisic? Well, first of all, let's define that he's an 22-year-old American soccer player.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty good.
He is pretty good. Yeah.
Tell me about the goal. What the mean? It was a nice goal, by the way.
It was a very nice goal. Yeah. I've had an internal battle in my mind over the last couple of months of who's better between Pulisic and Weston McKennie. Play different positions, so it's hard to judge. But I mean, at the very least, Christian Pulisic is a top 2 US player right now, and so he's finally got back into the Chelsea squad after they got a new head coach, and he's done really well for himself since getting back into that squad. And so Chelsea versus Real Madrid, Champions League semi-final. It should have been Chelsea versus Liverpool, but that's okay. I will try and get past that point. But no, so it was in Madrid. Obviously, Champions League, like what MLS used to do, has the away goals rule. So game finishes 1-1. But Pulisic opens the scoring with a beautifully composed finish, to be honest. The ball sent over the top to him. He could have controlled it and just took a shot right away at Thibaut Courtois, but he controlled it. He kind of came away from goal, cut it away from Courtois and shot right between 2 Real Madrid defenders. So right off the back, that was a beautiful goal. And a lot of people have been saying, and I think I have to agree, that it might be the most important goal that a US international scored at a club level across the board, the height of what it is. I heard some people saying Clint Dempsey for Fulham against Juventus in the Europa League back in 2010. They're definitely up there, but at the end of the day, it was a quarter-final. It was in the Europa League, which is a step below the Champions League. And it was a big winner for Fulham to beat Juventus. I mean, that doesn't even exist in this universe. So credit where credit's due to Dempsey, but with Pulisic here, it's a Champions League semi-final. It's a very crucial away goal against a very good Real Madrid team. So I think the significance of what it was, I think it might be the biggest goal to date that a US international has scored.
Well, and I mean, it does rank just in terms of the fact that stuff like this doesn't happen every day for US players playing overseas. He was the first US male to score in a Champions League semi, and also the first US international, so men's or women's, to score in any competition against Real Madrid. So, I mean, a massive goal, massive, just moment. And to think that player is part of the future of the US men's national team is just pretty mind-boggling, I think, for a lot of US soccer fans. So it was fantastic and so exciting. I mean, there's so much excitement surrounding Christian Pulisic. I know a ton of fans of Chelsea who have simply just become fans because of him playing there, recent fans being developed out of that. So it's great for US soccer. It's great for the game, and just I'm excited to see what the future holds. I mean, Weston McKennie, like you mentioned, Shaun, is just another name of quite a few young US stars who are killing it, playing at some of the world's best clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it also potentially speaks well for the United States national team when we see some international competition. So it was neat to see. And the fact that I believe it happened during the day. So there was a lot of, it got a lot of social media buzz in this country that is.
Yeah.
Cool. So.
UPM kickoffs.
All right, guys. Terrific conversation as always. Really enjoyed it. Hey, Allie, what do you got coming up this weekend on 8/10?
Yeah. So, number one, a lot of NFL draft stuff, considering the Chiefs are going to have more of their excitement and, interest, I guess, from a fan perspective with their picks later on in the draft, not picking in the first round. So Friday, Saturday, you can hear me from 9 to 11 a.m. I will also have a game preview for KC NWSL coming out. I will, of course, be on the Sporting Real Salt Lake post-game show, which will be on ESPN Kansas City. You can also listen to the game live there as well. That's 1510 AM, 94.5 FM. So I'll be doing a lot of football, American football, and football, the world sport of football. So a lot of stuff this weekend. It'll be a busy Saturday, but I'm looking forward to it.
And you can read Shaun Goodwin stuff in the Kansas City Star and on kansascity.com. Shaun, Allie, great catching up with you, and we will do it again soon.
Sounds good.
That'll do it for today. Thanks to our SportsBeat KC production staff of Derek Donovan, Beth Welsh, Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, Chris Fickett, and Savannah Smith. Tip of the cap to Ali Trost and Shaun Goodwin for stopping by and talking soccer. Links to Shaun's stories can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. Hey, we have another deal for you. You can subscribe to Sports Pass for 99 cents a month. That's right, 99 pennies a month. Sports Pass is the online version of the Star Sports section. You got all the stories that appear in the print editions of the Star, plus many more stories that appear only on the website. After 3 months, it auto-renews at $5.99 a month unless you cancel, and it's always a great time to subscribe. The Royals are still leading the AL Central. Local colleges are always making news. We think KU is going to name a football coach here in the next day or two. And of course, it's never not Chiefs season. The NFL Draft is here. So how do you get this deal? You go to kansascity.com/sportspass2020. That's kansascity.com/sportspass2020. You want more than just sports coverage? Check out the entire Kansas City Star product. Sports news, features, commentary, and analysis, the whole thing. You get all the stories written by my talented colleagues, plus additional national news, sports, and business coverage with the e-edition. The details for all of these deals can be found at account.kansascity.com/subscribe. And if you're having trouble hunting down any of those offers, just send me an email, bkirkhoff@kcstar.com, and I'll get you to the right place. So whether it's the Sports Pass or the full subscription, you're getting in supporting the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City and helping us produce programs like SportsBeat KC. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back on Friday with another episode.